So yesterday, Formula One held an event, the F175 launch event, which, I mean, the name describes it perfectly. It was a launch event to commemorate the 75 years of F1. Despite initially not seeing any point in the event whatsoever, I thought it went great. There was musicians, they presented the team principals, they presented the driver lineups, and most importantly, they presented the liveries that each of the 10 teams will be using this year in Formula One. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the whole event, too much time, but what I am going to do is I am going to rate each and every livery that they revealed. So, from Stake, the first one, to McLaren, the last one, they're all going to be rated and ranked in this video. When I do my rankings and my ratings, I am going to go solely based off of how they look. I am not going to go based off of how much they changed. So please don't think Red Bull is going to be number 10 just because it's the same thing every year. If it looks good, then it looks good. I'm not going to give it less points because it's the same thing. You know what I mean? So with that being said, let me just get right into the rankings. Oh yeah, quick little note before I get into the rankings. Just because something might be at 8, 9, or 10 doesn't necessarily mean that the liveries are bad, because realistically, none of them are bad. It's just if they're that low, it just means that they're not really that good, because there's a lot of good liveries this year, and unfortunately, some of these are just going to have to take one for the team and be ranked at 10. So with that being said, at number 10, we have the Stake Sauber car. Don't get me wrong, it's not really a bad car, it's just that it's not that good either. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really mind the neon green on the car. I just think, if anything, they didn't use enough of the neon green. In regards to the neon green, I just think the design isn't the greatest. If anything, it just looks like one of those sneeze spray charts that were all over the place during COVID. If you really wanted to implement the green, I would have had it along the entire car. That's including, the rest of the engine cover, and maybe just leave the side pods and the wings black. I just think it looks really incomplete in my opinion. The gradient from neon green to black just doesn't look that good, and for that reason, I'm gonna have to put the Stake Sauber car at 10. Now with number 9, again, it was really hard to choose number 9 because none of these look bad. It was, when choosing number 9, I just had to say which one pops out to me the least, and the one that popped out the least to me had to be the McLaren car. As I said earlier, it's not that it's the same thing as last year, it's just that it doesn't really pop out. Even last year's, I didn't really find too much excitement in it. I think it's just there's too much black on the car, or carbon fiber, whatever that is. And it's easy to say, put more orange, make it completely orange. But again, we remember what that looked like, and it wasn't the greatest. Personally, if I had to choose one of the older liveries to put on the McLaren while also staying orange, it would be the 2022 car. I thought that one looked really nice in my opinion. But again, it's not that low because it's the same thing. It's just that low because it just doesn't pop out to me. I also noticed the blue accents on the car, which look decent, but again, these are just really small blue accents that don't really do much for the car anyways. I am gutted to put this car at number 8 because the presentation for the car was just so nice. But at number 8, we have the Aston Martin. Again, I am so disappointed that the car is kind of a letdown. It's the same thing, but it's even less than what it usually is. It's disappointing because, again, the presentation was just so good. I love seeing Thames up there. It was a huge surprise, and along with her singing and her just songs in general, the presentation was beautiful. So for the car to be pretty much the same thing as always, it was somewhat a letdown. But looking at the car, it's pretty much the same thing as it usually is. If anything, there's more black on the car than green, which is a bummer. Obviously, I don't like that. And in regards to the yellowish green line that flows through the car, it looks okay. I don't mind it, but I would have loved the pink line from 2021 so much more. I just think it looks so nice. But yeah, for that, Aston Martin goes at 8. If it was up to me, I'd put it top 3 solely because of the presentation. But again, we're just looking at the livery here, so in that case, Aston Martin stays at 8. Coming in at number 7, we have the Williams car. Now again, it hurts having to put this at number 7 because it looks so nice, but then again, the 6 cars above it look better. So, you know, the car looks nice, and then 7 just feels like a really low rank, but in relation to the other cars, it's only fair that it's at 7. Looking at the car itself, I love it. It looks simplistic, and I love the gradient between the dark blue and the lighter blue. I know I said the gradient on the Kick Sauber doesn't look good, but that's because it's 2 different colors. But on the Williams, I think the gradient is done perfectly, from a darker blue to a lighter blue, and it still keeps that brand identity of Williams being blue. So for that, I think it looks really nice. Again, not as good as the other ones, but really nice anyways. So number 7 is where it will be. Now coming in at number 6, I did switch some things up a bit from yesterday, from when I initially saw all these cars. So this was higher at first, but then I was just looking at them right now and I'm like, nah, this isn't as good. So at number 6, we have the Mercedes car. It's not that it's bad. Again, none of these are really that bad. It's just when I really gave the Mercedes a good look, I'm like, it's not that special. The gradient from silver to black is decent. It's not the greatest. It's not the worst, but it's really just there. I don't mind it. I don't care for it. Whatever, it's there. What I did like though were the silver stars, so that's a plus. I think that looks really nice. But apart from that, it's pretty standard Mercedes livery, so that's why I'm just gonna have it at number 6. Now at number 5, we have the Haas car. Similar to the previous 2 cars, I switched some things around, and it's kind of disappointing that I'm gonna have to put this at 5 because the Haas car looks really nice. You know, does it look really good this year? Yes. Is it much better than last year's? Yes. But where I decided to put it at number 5 is when I asked myself, am I going to have a fun time looking at this car during a race compared to the other 4 above it? And that's when I was like, I mean, it's going to be visually pleasing, but probably not as much as the other 4. So that's where I settled on 5th. So talking about the car, I love the amount of white that they put on the car. I think it looks really nice. It makes it pop out a lot more than what it has, you know, like last year, the year before that. So in terms of that, it looks really nice, you know, while still implementing black. I think that's important for Haas, that they do have some sort of black on the car. So it's a good mixture of both black and white, and then with the red accents, I think that just tops it all off. With the MoneyGram as well, it's a red sponsor, so I think all of it looks really nice together. But where I settled to put it is at 5th, not because it's bad, not because it's mid, but because the other 4 are better. But this one is really nice. So at number 4, we have the brand new Ferrari. I think it looks really nice. Some things about it that I love is the use of the darker red and the use of white accents. So starting off with the darker red, I don't know if it was last year or 2023, but I just didn't like the red. I thought it almost looked like the same color red as a ketchup bottle. It just looked kind of ugly. On top with the yellow line, I didn't think it looked good. But with this darker red and the white accent, it looks so nice. Now some people probably don't have this as high up because of the amount of HP logos, and I understand they have it like at least 6 times on the car. I think they're overdoing it, but apart from that, I just love the white accents. That is exactly what I needed on the Ferrari. You know, ever since their Las Vegas one-off livery with all the white, I just thought it looked so nice that, you know, I hoped for white accents again, and good thing I got it. So for that, Ferrari is going to be at number 4. It would be higher up, like 3rd probably, if they put more white on probably the front wing. But regardless of that, I think number 4 is very fair. Now, in 3rd place, a surprise to many probably, but I have the Red Bull. A lot of people probably have the Red Bull much lower just because it's the exact same thing every year. But like I said, I'm not going to take into account if the car looks different or not. I'm just taking into account how it looks. And I think regardless of the fact that this is the same car for 10 years straight, it looks really nice. I mean, everything about it looks great. It's exciting to look at. Brand recognition is on point. Like, you know that this is the Red Bull car. Everything about it is just nice, and there's not much more you could change about it, you know. Not much to say. I'm just repeating the same things over and over again, but you can't go wrong with it. The saying, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. That's exactly how I feel about this car. I mean, it's a great car, great livery. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. They don't have any need to fix the Red Bull livery, and therefore I have it at number 3. Now, for number 2, I know I wasn't going to take into account if the cars changed a lot, but regardless of that, number 2 is Alpine, and even though it changed a lot, I mean, the changes worked perfectly in terms of the livery. I mean, I love the fact that they added more color. They finally listened to the fan base. They added more color to the car. The blue and the pink together look really nice. I specifically love the shade of pink because it reminds me exactly of Racing Point. So that's some points on the board for Alpine there. And then the shade of blue, the fact that it's not too light yet not too dark, I love it. And then it just goes so well with the pink. So for that, I would have to put the Alpine at number 2. Not much to say, just all around a really nice car and really nice colors. Now, coming in at number 1, we have the 2021 Turkish Grand Prix car. Nah, I'm kidding. But in number 1, we do have the V-Carb. I mean, I just don't know what to say about it. It's just so nice. Everything about it is just, it looks so good altogether. The fact that the car is predominantly white, it's going to pop out a lot on TV and even in person. I don't know if I'll get to see that, but, for you guys who do go, it just pops out a lot. I love how they still use the yellow and red bull design. I think that looks really nice. I love how they stuck with that. And if you guys didn't peep, you probably did see it. The navy bulls that are coming out like in the rear of the car, those look really nice too. A nice little touch to the car. Everything together, it just looks so nice. I would genuinely have to give it a 10 out of 10. But apart from that, there's not much I can say about it. It just looks so visually pleasing altogether that I'm just left kind of speechless about it. I just can't wait to see it when it's racing. With that being said, that wraps up my rankings for each of the 10 new liveries for F1 this season. I just want to say again, it was really hard making this list because every single livery here is at least decent. Yes, even the Stake Sauber car, which is just green and black, I think it's at least decent. It's not horrible. It's not ugly. But, outside of 10th place, that was a comfortable 10th place. But outside of 10th place, it was really hard trying to comfortably place each and every car in one ranking, Throughout ranking these, there was a lot of times where I wanted to, joint 4th or joint 5th place liveries. But, I had to put them in one spot and one spot only. So that was really hard to do. If you guys like this video, please, if you guys like sim racing, if you've never watched me before, you like sim racing, you like racing, you like Gran Turismo, please subscribe. That's what I do. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much else I want to say. Thank you for watching, and peace out.